Nobody fails as an entrepreneur. There's people that stick it out and succeed, and then there's people that quit before they succeed.
Success is like being pregnant. Nobody knows how many times you got to get there.
Very good way to put it.
It's just a matter of how long can you continue getting over, and then that's it. That's literally all I believe success is.
Where's a Slut Whisperer come from?
Dude, I got kicked off Instagram so many times. Every time I got kicked off, I'd give up. I'd be like, I'm done with Instagram. And then a month later, I'd be like, the party looks so cool. Like, I'll come back. I went through 20 names. And then the last time I was like, guys on Twitter, please help me come up with my final name. I'm done. This is my last chance. And someone's like, Slut Whisperer. I was like, that's a fun name. And I did it. And that's the name that stuck, which is the worst thing possible because no one wants to work with Slut Whisperer, right? When I had Kirill, it would be like I could take brand deals, 1 million followers. But I built up Slut Whisperer of all accounts to 2 million followers. But like, who wants a cosign from Slut Whisperer?
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the podcast. Got myself, Ryan, my co-host, Wix, Mr. Val, Mr. the infamous Slut Whisperer.
Everyone gets a real name but me.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I know. Slut Whisperer is just a little better
It's
than Kirill. I wish my parents called me that.
It's a lot of flavor in Slut Whisperer.
It's the mission statement's in there.
could just call him Pretty Boy, honestly.
Pretty boy, pretty gay boy.
It's always has to be with the gay, right? You always got to throw the gay in there.
Yes, because I'm trying to level the playing field. If I tell girls you're gay, then they all at least pay attention to me.
One of my close friends is a hater. Which was the truth.
Yeah.
Where's a Slut Whisperer come from?
Dude, I got kicked off Instagram so many times. And at the time, getting kicked off Instagram wasn't that bad because no one was really doing businesses on Instagram. It was more of just like, oh, I got kicked off for posting a photo on a photo app. And then you'd be upset, but I still had Twitter and like everything else I was doing. Right. And then I would just, every time I got kicked off, I'd give up. I'd be like, I'm done with Instagram. And then a month later, I'd be like, the party looks so cool. Like, I'll come back. So I had like, Kirill was here was the first one, which is like my brand name. And then after that, they delete the name. You can't reuse it. I would do like, I did Kirillix because Skrillex was big at the time. I went through 20 names. And then the last time I was like, guys on Twitter, please help me come up with my final name. I'm done. This is my last chance. And someone's like, Slut Whisperer. I was like, that's a fun name. And I did it. And that's the name that stuck, which is the worst thing possible because no one wants to work with Slut Whisperer, right? When I had Kirill, it would be like I could take brand deals, 1 million followers. But I built up Slut Whisperer of all accounts to 2 million followers. But like, who wants a cosign from Slut Whisperer, right? Maybe. So it was like, no, because I promote irresponsible drinking. Like there's so many, no one wants to associate themselves with a Slut Whisperer, right? It's just like, why would you do that? So the name comes from there, but it is definitely, I'm the king of burning bridges as I cross them, right? Like as long as I do something good, but it also comes with a lot of negative.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's very attention grabbing. So it does work in that regard. I'm sure that's how the account, not that your work wasn't solid, but just in general.
No, 100%.
The name helps for that. Obviously monetizing it is, people don't want to spend their advertising.
I couldn't monetize it easy, which is like what most people were able to do, right? Like someone's like, Burger King, here's like 20 grand, run this ad for us. And you'd be like, fuck, all my friends are getting paid. And then I'm like, I need to find a way to make money from this myself, not wait for brands to come to me. So hence, the merch, the parties, everything else is where the revenue comes from.
When did Assholes Live Forever come to fruition?
2017. I was like at a pretty low point. Because in 2017, I'm 33. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like, it's fun. I'm partying. I'm traveling. But, like, what am I going to do when I'm 50 or 60? Like, I'm going to be the creepy dude in the club. And I don't have a career outside of this. So merch kind of, like, was the next venture. And, here we are 7 years later.
And still going strong.
It's like, sorry to be blunt talking to you about it, but essentially it's a cancer. Our goal is to have this spread like a cancer to everyone until like they can't get rid of it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right. And then, Instagram is chemo and they're constantly trying to clean us out. We're like, we're going to try to win this.
Is it a big struggle with them?
It's a big... It's not a big struggle anymore, honestly. You know why? Because we've been so beaten down that like I'm almost like self-censored, right? In the beginning, I'd be able to say whatever I want, post whatever we want, make whatever jokes we want. But after like, a business like merch is attached to it, you start kind of being like, okay, I want to make this joke. I guess I'm not going to, because before I had really not much to lose if I got deleted. Now there's infrastructure, there's like a warehouse, there's employees, there's, bills to be paid. So
Exactly. It's tough. It's
Got to
tough.
joke responsibly now.
Yeah.
Dude, there's going to come a point where this is going to get censored, right? Like right now, podcasts exist. That's the beauty of podcasts, is they're decentralized, right?
Yeah.
You can upload yourself and all the services pull.
Yeah.
But like when Spotify got into podcasts where they're cutting deals like Joe Rogan's and Call Her Daddy, and they're funding them, now you have a corporate master. And eventually I feel like they are going to start coming down on the speech side of this once companies start like getting involved versus letting just like anyone upload to a server and letting it live on Apple.
They're technically already doing like YouTube, obviously.
Yeah.
Watches everything, and if they don't like it, they'll restrict it or they'll pull it.
When it's uploading, they're screening all of it.
Of course, because
By the time it's live, you're like, oh, can't post this part, or you got demonetized.
Yeah, someone said it best. It's really disappointing as a artist that we make art for an algorithm and not people.
Yeah.
We make art for what we think will connect with a computer system that will then push it to the most amount of eyes. We don't make it because we believe in it and hope it reaches those eyes, because you're literally,
The algorithm is
trying to sneak across the border.
well, the way these companies fight it is
That's like,
it sucks.
Fucked up,
It is.
yeah.
right? Because 10 years ago, or whenever Instagram came out, there was no throttling. You just made something. If people loved it, they'd see it and be like, cool. Now we're literally hoping that some fucking robot made out of ones and zeros online likes my thing.
Yeah, and good luck contesting it.
also the problem is that it started genuine in the beginning, but then as the market got populated, what is the answer? Shock value. So the crazier you get, the more eyes you get. So the companies are basically trying to say like, oh, before you get too crazy, we're going to stop you. You know what I mean? But that's their excuse.
They don't really want to stop you. They just want to act like it.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the kid from Happy Dad. Anyone YouTube he goes on. I forget his fucking name right now.
Steve will do it.
Yeah. Like they killed his YouTube, they killed all of it.
Yeah, because he kept like trapping the algorithm in his favor, and they didn't like it, obviously.
Right, but that kid's too big to fail right now, right? Like when you are like, hated by YouTube at that level, like you've kind of made enough of a mark. His following's huge. He built it on YouTube, right? Being kicked off of YouTube at this point for him is okay. It's if he got kicked off trying to build Steve Will Do It now, 3 months in, it would discourage him and he'd move on. But he luckily got to build his brand before YouTube came down on him, right? And now he's just kind of like a martyr, right? People are like, oh, Steve, go to X, go to Kick, go to Rumble, whatever you're going to go, right? Like he has that power. I'm talking about people who literally are trying to build something and just get fucking oppressed into like, well, this isn't interesting to make this anymore because there's so many roadblocks.
Guys just tap out just because YouTube came down on them as they were growing. Like they had a couple hit videos and then just done.
It sucks. I mean, it sucks to build something and get momentum and see it grow, and then to just have somebody, you're basically building it in somebody else's house, and at any point they can just lock the fucking door on you, right?
Right. And it's completely hypocritical, right? It's one thing if you applied it to all of us and we're like, fine, these are the laws of the land. But like I can go on Instagram and see Kim Kardashian's fucking tits, right? Or so when they're like, oh, well, this is expression of a woman's body. And you're like, fine. But then like, well, why is it any different when I do it? Or why is it when, something, the news can show the goriest war footage, but like I can't talk about trans people in a joking manner, right? It's like, what's worse?
You're not Dave Chappelle, sorry.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Too big to fail, right? Dave can go away, go with it, and talk about it, and he truly has freedom of speech. He is oppressed in certain areas, right? Like people might not like him, people might cancel him, blah, blah, blah. But he's strong enough to withstand that current. But a lot of people aren't.
And also, it's about what's trending. Whoever's color and gender is trending for the year is allowed to talk about whatever they want to talk about. Also, that becomes like a thing too. You know what I mean? So it's like if but it's black and I cut my cock off, maybe I can say
That's
a lot more than being white boy from Ukraine.
What about the streaming stuff? Since it's such a big thing, you guys do any of that?
Like what? Like just live stream shit?
Yeah,
The
like
problem
kick
is,
the
dude,
stream.
I don't do as much as I used to party-wise, right? Like the merch brand is so big that I have to do a lot of business, and the day-to-day isn't that fun. Like, we're streaming what? Like gambling maybe and all those avenues,
Yeah.
I guess, right? That's what I see people doing. I don't fucking know. It's weird because I know in streaming, like, I can't keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
And it's kind
Can
of...
you get in trouble on stream?
Yeah, I just started making fun of people. You talk
Yeah.
shit. The beauty of streaming half the time is also people want to hear your commentary, right?
Yeah.
Is like they're falling in love with the personality. But my personality is a little blue, a little dark, but
And they don't want, and that's not like a popular thing. Before, I feel like before COVID, it was popular to be dark and funny and witty at the same time. It was like, oh my God, this is genius. Now it's kind of like,
Can I say that?
can you, and now every single time you say something, you're like self-conscious about it every time you drop something. Like just now, I just said, oh, I cut my cock off and changed my skin color. I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have went.
no.
Right? Because then that already becomes like a second, like,
100%.
Yeah, but the difference is you're coming from a place of humor. And that's what like most of these people don't understand is like, dude, you want equality. Equality comes with good and bad. Guess what? When you tell me I can't make fun of you, that makes you above me. That doesn't make you equal. Equality means, sure, I want you to go and live your life any way you want without restriction, as long as you're not bothering anyone. But also, I can make fun of you. I can joke around. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you can transition and be a woman and have a penis and live your life. It doesn't affect me. I literally could care less.
correct, yeah.
But don't tell me I can't think that that's silly. Right? Everything can be silly. Right? Grown men that go-kart are silly. Right? Like,
Right.
Hey, what's wrong with go-kart?
you're silly. You know what I mean? But why can't I make fun of you? You don't get offended
Yeah.
because that's not your personality. But unfortunately, a lot of people attach their sexual preferences
Hiding.
as their identity. And you're like, dude, I have sex with straight girls.
Yeah.
I don't walk around being like, call me he, him, straight male everywhere. I'm like, I have
Just
much
hiding-
depth than what my dick does every night.
Hiding behind the label is the problem, right?
Well, it's easy because then you're not answering for your own assholery. You get to hide behind a group that's oppressed, right? It's very hard to be like, that trans person's a piece of shit, and people being like, whoa, you can't say that. But like, well, why can't he as a person also be a piece of shit?
Yeah, we don't know.
Right,
No,
exactly.
Unfortunately, now it's not okay to say that about
Anyone.
X, Y.
And you
Unless
that's
you're-
suffering.
Well, no, it is okay to say it about certain people, obviously.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Which is okay. You can make fun of me all you
Let's just even the playing field, though. You know what I mean?
The thing is, in America, the social grounds are like the stock market.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just whatever is high that time,
Yeah.
high. Whatever is low, and then it just switches around every 5 years. You know what I mean? And that's just how it goes.
The system, the fucked up part is the system will ride the wave, but it doesn't really care, right?
Because the
That's
whatever.
fake. It's all capitalism. It's capitalism. There's no motion.
But the
It's going to feed whatever it needs to feed at the time.
The system
it's
is built
sensitive to certain things at the moment. You know what I mean?
right, and
If
it's
that moment is saying that this thing should be that, then it is. And if that moment is saying that it's okay to say this about this person at this moment, then it's okay too.
part of the economy in America is built off of victims. You know what I mean? Just let alone welfare, right? That's a victim. That's a victim reward. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're suffering, you're going through something, we got you. And that's just the whole system out here. It's just built on that. It's like, oh, we have sympathy for you. Okay, let's help you. And everybody else has to be in on it. And if you're not in on it, you're a scumbag.
It's not genuine sympathy, though. That's
Correct.
that part. You
It's
know?
fabricated sympathy.
Yeah.
You know? And that sucks because it's annoying because everybody has to follow the rules. We can't joke around. I have to constantly it be in my head. I'm like, oh shit, did I say this correctly? I shouldn't have said it this way. Why did I?
It didn't matter previously, but once you add in monetization or some type of business factor to it and know that there is somebody that can throttle that, it changes the way. I mean, that's where comics are at right now, right? Because they have to think about everything they say.
Yeah, but comics have the biggest renaissance period.
Correct.
Yeah.
Since the 80s. Like, comedians are traveling like fucking Eminem and Dr. Dre.
yeah.
Like, I mean, they're crushing it. I think every system needs pushback. I don't disagree. Like, what would we talk about if we were allowed to do everything we wanted to do, right? So it's a necessary pushback, but it's, like you guys said, it is very phony activism. It's like being like, oh, what are we all talking about this week? Oh, we love those people. And you're like, cool, talk to me on July 1 when Gay Pride's over, how much you give a fuck about gay people, right? it's just
Or
not
where you
like,
were 20 years ago when people were really that
it's very easy to put a rainbow flag on the door of your business and to hopefully one extra gay guy walks in so you can sell an extra item to stay in business, right?
It's true.
It's true. It is true. You're right. Because like, imagine 20 years old, you walk through Times Square and you see a guy getting beat up in the alley.
No,
Were you
rough,
helping?
bro? Those guys.
Were you helping
No,
at that time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They weren't helping, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
all of a
I
sudden,
don't get involved in either. I don't get involved in anything.
It's not my business.
Do you care?
No.
Like, I genuinely
I
don't care.
yeah.
I want people to
Absolutely.
be happy and live them true self, and for whatever reason.
Right.
I think there's a tasteful way to do it. I'm not out pushing my vices on people or things that I feel like are taboo, and I think that things are being overly expressed when it's just not necessary. You know what I mean? Like, why does it have to be so personal? Yeah, go be yourself, but should it be like overly thrown in certain places and things? Maybe not.
I think the people that are normal in the head, and I know this is probably a very blunt thing to say,
Day, bro.
you don't hear their voices because they're existing. It's the people that are clamoring the loudest that you're like, oh, God, right? And it's just the same reason for any culture. You have extremists where you're like, I hate that this guy represents me, right? Like, I hate that Hasidic Jews represent me being a Jew. I'm not even a Jew. Like, I don't know anything about being Jewish. I came out of a Jewish pussy. That's it, right? But Hasidic Jews make us look bad, right? Because they're extremists, right? Most normal Jews go about their day. But, like, you know,
Anything extreme is always bad, right? Like anything a little too much.
It gets weird really quick.
Yeah, it's like, I like CrossFit, but when someone's in my face 24/7, squat, I'm like, hi, brother.
right,
Just
that's
relax.
identity.
Calm down, bro. Just chill.
Yeah.
But I'm saying some of the workouts I like, right? So
I mean, you talk about saunas so much. That's kind of your personality.
yeah, but I'm not gonna get upset if somebody meets.
Do you go to saunas in June during Gay Pride, or is that like a no-go because
you can get
women and dick?
No, because if you walk into a sauna, you might fucking be a part of an orgy you never signed up.
So you're not even like that much of a sauna.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not. I don't know if saunas that much.
Your homophobia is stronger than your love for saunas,
I wouldn't say. I think
which is crazy. Because
once again, extreme. See, push an extreme joke. That's it's too far.
right, but that's all it is. It's a joke, right? Someone listening at home being like, he hates gay people. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? I'm allowed to make fun of you,
Right.
right? I make fun of my girlfriend every day. She's not like, oh my God, he hates me and wants me to lose all my fucking human rights.
We're definitely lacking a sense of humor. Collectively.
Yeah.
Because sense of humor is dark, dude. Like the best.
Hey, we used to be able to point out
Hey,
these stereotypes about each other and everybody would laugh about it and it was okay and it brought the room together.
it's the best.
It's okay to say this and that. And
Yeah, like, I'm sorry,
it fits, bro.
Koreans are better at doing nails. Like, how is that bad?
No, Russians are actually.
No.
Russian nails are actually the hottest.
Really?
No, yeah. Fucked up.
All Fuck Korean nail ladies. You know what I mean? Who cares? Like, who cares?
I know. I'm just messing around, but
Right.
all jokes aside, it's
I hear Cali barbers are better than New York barbers.
no. That's why you look down when you said that, because you know it's not true.
Turkish barbers are the best, right?
No,
You're-
once again, not true. Service wise, they're better.
I've never had that experience.
I've had it.
I got a cut in London that was like fucking top tier, bro.
and they hit you with the ear burn.
Everything, bro.
I said
I've
the exact
never.
same thing.
I said, why do barbershops even exist anywhere else? It doesn't even make
There's no money
I
in it.
agree with you 1,000%.
you know. And then when they charged me, even in London, in like a fucking, I was in Mayfair in like a swanky ass area. I got a place called Jack the Ripper, best cut I ever got. I just went in to like just get my head buzzed because I got there from Italy and I needed a haircut. And then like he's like, you want the whole thing, right? And as soon as he started, I was like, yeah, I want the whole thing. I need the whole experience, you know. Fucking got a drink, got this, got that. The fucking guy gets down, super professional, crazy service. I've never. Yeah, bro, it's like 80 euros,
How much?
80 pounds.
How long did he take for the whole experience?
Bro, it's over an hour.
How many people do you think he can fit in a day? Like
I mean, it was a
8?
small spot, but he had somebody helping him, handing him razors, getting everything prepared and everything else.
6 to 8.
Yeah. And I'm sure, like I said, like it was in Mayfair, bro. It's in like per capita more billionaires than any place on earth.
Mayfair's sick.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm sure he's like getting tips that are pretty crazy too, you know, but like they go above and beyond and it's next level care.
And some people aren't in it for the crazy money either. Like, you're a hustler and you want as much. You're looking at the numbers. That guy's just like, yo, I can afford to feed my family and go on vacations, and I run a no bullshit little fucking.
I mean, in Turkey, what are they getting for it? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Same service.
Like $10.
Yeah. Same service. He's making, 10x,
I'm more on the quality and convenience side of barbering more than the service and the.
Doesn't service mean quality?
It's, you know what's weird though? It's like
It's not true. Not always.
in Los Angeles culture, like if you just walk in off the street somewhere, they're not ready to serve you here.
You know why? Because they're not in a rush to stress.
I don't understand.
If somebody walks in and they're like, yo, I want it right now, to them, that's like, ooh, that's way out of the way.
Yeah.
Like, I need to mentally prep myself.
I got an appointment
Right.
in an hour, and it's like, damn, bro, like
That just shows that they're not workers, though, and not hustlers. Because a hustler would be like, boom, sit down. I got you.
like everybody that walks in is an opportunity.
Correct.
You don't know who this cat is.
And you don't know what he's about.
Relationship
Right.
might be
I agree.
beneficial down the line.
I agree.
Especially usually the people that are the most people with the least amount of time, right? Like I don't have time to make an appointment and do all that. I don't know what my day's gonna look like. I might pop up and just have to. This might be a convenience thing.
Yeah, I might have a girl hit me up.
If you give me service,
I want to have a plan.
then I might go out of my way to do it in the future, right?
See, generally, you're 100% right. People with the least amount of time usually bring the most amount of value into the room, for most part.
Yeah.
Because they understand the value of time.
Right. And not only that, but if they need something quick, something done fast that has to be efficient, means that they're running their schedule.
Well, also, I have the money to have you wait on me versus me wait on you, right? If I work all day, hopefully I'm in a position where I'm like, I need you at my house at this time to cut my hair before I have to catch a flight to go to another meet, right? Like people operate at a certain wavelength, just expect a premium on convenience for them. They don't care about you. They care about them, right? I'm greedy. When I have a barber, when I go to New York and I know I'm going to New York, bro, I know I'm going a week in advance, but I literally hit my barber the day before. I'm like, bro, what do you got? And he's like, I'm booked up. I'm like, please squeeze me in. I'm going to be in New York for 24 hours. And for a price, he does. But that's you got to be willing to pay for convenience.
That's my specialty. I literally just function on that. I function on working with people that don't have a lot of time, because that's where the success is. And that's where you build the best roster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right, but you're lucky you live in a major city, right? Outside of like the 10 major cities in America, most of the people are going to a strip mall, going to a local hair salon, and they're like, oh, I go every Tuesday.
Well, it's not only luck, it's also what he said. Most people, when you walk in, they don't want to deal with you, because to them, they're like, oh, I'm so important. But if you put that ego down and you start dealing with the people that don't have a lot of time and you service them and you pamper them, they're like, oh, shit, I fuck with you.
Doors open.
Correct. Boom, you're locked in.
Let me ask you this. I find that people with the most free time respond slower than people with the least amount of free time. Do you find that as well?
With that, 1000%.
I know guys that are like super, super high energy and super high functioning that like you can literally send them a text or something and they literally like, they usually reply like instantly. Yes, no, whatever. You know what I mean? They might be short and to the point, but it seems like
They get back to you like right away. Like,
it just ends up being like boom, boom, boom. They just piled through it. And you catch cats that like, bro, I know you're probably not doing anything, and it's like it's slow motion. I just find it interesting.
I feel like I'm in that zone. I'm definitely in the slower response zone, but I'm a moody texter. If it's like super pertinent business shit, sure, I'm on top of it. But if like I have 80 unanswered text messages on my phone,
yeah,
and 70% of them are people just bothering me for shit that I'm like, dude, I'm not giving. Like I have a friend that just texted me asking like, bro, I need you to settle an argument. Would you rather have like Megan Fox with a dick or Hulk Hogan with a pussy? And I'm like, dude, I'm in the middle of the craziest meeting. Like I'm not answering that, right? Like I don't have time for that. And that's cute and shit, but like, yeah, that's getting left on red. That's getting left on red because maybe you should realize it's a fucking Wednesday afternoon. I'm working.
That's the tricky part about the space that you're in, though. Your name is Slut Whisperer. You make jokes all day long. So these guys think to relate to you, they're about to come up with the best joke of all time to present to you, thinking that that's what you're waiting for.
Yeah, don't waste my fucking time.
Right, but they don't understand that you're actually running a business. You know what I mean?
Yes. What I show you to the world is completely different than what like it goes on behind it.
And that just shows how simple-minded human beings are, because what they see on Instagram, and then they're so naive to be like, oh, this guy's probably just all day long getting high and making jokes in his bed.
and getting blowjobs.
Right.
I used to ride a bike around New York City, and I rode to the World Trade Center because I was like, fuck it, let me go take a photo. It's like hang out. It was a random day in New York like 6 years ago. And a dude comes up and he's like, Kirill, are we going to do some Molly? And I'm like, bro, it's a Tuesday at noon. Why would I be doing Molly right now?
Wow.
But they honestly think that you exist in that wavelength.
That's your idea?
If you think I'm doing Molly all day, then suck my dick. Don't ever complain about late packages. Because if you think I'm partying all day, then you should be blown away that our orders go out. So you got to pick one. You want efficient orders or you want a party animal?
There's your answer, guys. There's where the orders. Damn. Yeah, it is true though. When you have less going on, and you don't understand, you don't build value and respect for time, you don't answer people.
I
used to have that when I was younger.
I get it. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Sorry, we showed up 30 late. I was doing nothing.
I mean, it could happen. There's a window of time management that is acceptable. And obviously we're asking you to come to something as well. So it's a little more free flowing. But you know.
We've had other people like an hour plus late. Like, what if we just second one stack?
Yeah, or what if unless you're like the most famous person on the planet, right? I'll sit around
Pick up our kid from somewhere.
You'd be surprised, bro. I mean, unless they're like super prima donnas, like in film and shit, these guys usually keep like a fucking super extreme tight schedule. You know what I mean?
You're right.
They're like,
you guys are at the same shit we go through, right? It's like people don't think you're doing anything, but literally sitting at this desk all day waiting for someone to show up. You're like, dude, this is a business. Like,
you got shit to do.
Yeah.
He has to be scheduled. Like, it's got to be him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Editors are ready later this afternoon to start chopping stuff. Like,
I mean, this dude's probably hitting me like, can you do tomorrow at this time? And I'm like, yeah, but within this hour and a half window of time, of course.
That's why fuck Lauryn Hill. She respects nobody's time. You know Lauryn Hill?
I know who she
From
is.
the Fugees? She's notorious.
Yeah.
Never showing up on time, like hours late to her concerts, and sometimes not even getting up there. And I will, to this day, she sells out while fucking her fans over. Like, you can look up Lauryn Hill. She's probably the number one notorious, like,
I know. Yeah.
hates her fan base.
I've actually been there and seen like the turmoil of like trying to get her on stage from backstage of something. So I don't really understand it. I don't know if it's
She's got one album, lady. You are lucky you built a career off of Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is all she put out 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And this lady's still touring on it. Like,
her
a lucky life.
Her relationship with the business side of the business is a very like turmoil driven thing.
Fine, but don't fuck your fans.
That it ends up in the public that really does praise you. You know what I mean? And has kept that love alive for that long period of time. You know, I get it, bro. I grew up in film, so I understand not liking the business end of the stick. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people.
But can I ask this question? Like, if we're gonna discuss like, disciplines and all that shit, it's like, dude, Lauryn Hill, you got not only a gift, which is really rare, you got a shot, which is even rarer, right? Like somebody put you on. Like, at some point, I don't care your relationship with the business. Like, you wanted this. Don't alienate your fan base by not showing up on time just because you have problems with what's going on behind the scenes. Like, every artist has no problem showing up. That's my problem. It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy a person that
like if I doesn't get schedule at work, I'm just gonna be like, oh, sorry guys, I'm not gonna cut you this week. And people have to fuck.
People get babysitters.
Go to
babysitters,
weddings or whatever. Just
babysitters canceling last minute drop.
How often does that happen?
The old person, it was like once a week.
Really?
how hard is it to find a good babysitter?
Incredibly difficult.
Fucking difficult.
Because you're trusting them with your...
It's a lot, you know what I mean? You got to be comfortable with somebody.
Unsupervised.
Yeah.
Do you have cameras everywhere, or are you worried about them getting molested?
No, I have cameras everywhere.
Well, not just that. I mean, you just got to find somebody that'll show up, somebody that's competent enough, somebody that you feel comfortable in your home. There's so many levels that
can react like
I don't have.
Gets hurt.
We don't have a babysitter that's solid. You know,
Yeah.
Jen's mom will come watch the baby. That's great, but she's got to drive far. It's a lot. Like, we've never had anybody solid where we can like go run around and do what we want. You know?
My brother's very lucky. Like, my mom watches his kid.
Well, that's like great. You know?
Every day she watches the kid.
You hope that you have grandparents in the picture that can handle that, you know?
And I told him one day, I'm like, bro, because there's like, we're going, you know, sometimes there's like inconveniences, or it's easier to tell the family member to be like, yo, fuck off, or this is annoying me, blah, blah. And I'm like, told him, I said, dude, so you're lucky that she's watching this kid. And I said, believe me, I'm like, people would pay double just to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you have that peace of mind.
Yeah, bro, it's the best thing ever.
It's yeah, it really is.
The move is what my parents did with my sister when she was born. They just brought a fucking Russian lady in from Russia to live with us. And she helped around the house with my sister full time, and she probably got some garbage salary, right? But it was just money to take home to Russia when she left. My sister went through 3 living babysitters. Like every 2 years, 3 years, they'd have to go to Russia, and they'd bring some other lady in.
I have 2 Russian kids, so I know the routine of the nanny situation.
You got Russian kids?
From the East.
You have Russian kids?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So your wife is Russian?
No, my wife is Mexican. My ex is from Uzbekistan.
Oh, wow. That's dope.
But they're Russian Jews from Uzbekistan. So
that's even crazier.
Yeah.
Russian Jews from Uzbekistan?
Yeah, it's wild.
Tashkent, right?
Yeah, from Tashkent. Oh,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's where usually all the Jews ran.
Yeah.
During that time. So they all ended up there, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I have experience with that as well.
Do you speak Russian?
No. I mean, I understand enough to
Do you hear him talk
by.
shit?
Yeah.
You hear the Russian, then your name, Russian.
We get along, but I understand the culture, which most people don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's a divide in America, especially between understanding Russian culture and feeling like it's a little stiff. It doesn't go over so smoothly here. You know what I mean?
It's stiff because it's hardcore and it's dark and it's real. So they don't like that.
Bro.
You know what
They're
I mean?
good people, but like obviously Americans have like this like fake nice thing, and it's not part. It's
of
different,
them. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like weird to like I understand it and I can deal with the little idiosyncrasies of that, but most people are like, "What the fuck is their problem?" or whatever. You know what I mean?
My girl's
part of the deal.
My girl is Brazilian, and sometimes I bring her into the neighborhood where I'm from, and she'll be like, "Why are people like this? Or why is this person like that?" And I'm like, babe, you gotta understand. I'm like, this is not them trying to be this way. This is just who they're. This is how they're born, and this is how they learn to be.
Yeah.
Because it's very like there's no hiding, there's no putting masks on their face. They're just like, yo, if I don't feel good, you're gonna see it. And vice versa.
A lot of awkward gazes and stuff. It's funny. Yeah. Story. My wife now was a cheerleader, and they were on like a pro tour in Korea, and they were in a group, and there was a Russian girl from Russia in Korea, and she was like, "This bitch is just staring at me," and she's like, "What the fuck is this bitch's problem?" And Kirill, the director for the Rams or whatever, is like, "Oh no, she's Russian. Don't worry about it. She can't help it."
Yeah, that
type of thing. You know what I mean? It's like very like
kind of programmed without too much emotion and certain things, right? That's why like Russia is like home of mail order brides, because the women there are like, I want to live in America and I'm not going to fully pretend that I love you. I'm a mail order bride, right? I'm not a companion for life, blah, blah, blah. Like they're like, bring me to America and take care of me.
I'm very dry and very like no nonsense emotionality to like most situations, so it's not a big deal. It's not like a deal breaker for me, because like I get that. I'm like, at least people are just pretty, we have a task to uphold. You know what I'm saying?
I could never be with a Russian girl. Could never. They're so, I don't know.
But that's also because we come from it, and we
I mean, like, dude, they're such opportunists where I'm like, and everyone just seems shady.
I don't mean as a companion, but just in general, just as like a dry type of thing.
Yeah.
You know? I get that, like no emotion. It doesn't always have to be like so. Oh well, thank you so much.
I know.
It's like, okay, bro, but like let's get to the next point.
Cut to the chase, and they cut to the chase fast. You know what I mean? Their whole fluff.
That's why no one goes to Russian restaurants here. No hospitality.
Yeah,
you go to a nice spot, people are like, hey,
if you go to a good Russian banquet or something, it's a good fucking time, bro. I mean, we have obviously the Armenian culture here is huge, so we have a big Russian culture in Los Angeles as well, and that shit's fun, bro. That's a good time.
Yeah, it could be a little cringe, it could be a little corny, but just like everything else, Yeah. But it is they love to, what's funny about those parties, the Russian parties, they will eat the entire time,
whole time,
and I'm like, bro,
I thought the appetizers were the main fucking meal.
And their plates don't fit anywhere. They have a plate that's on top of a plate.
It's just the whole fucking time.
Yeah, it's just Russian
layers
tapas.
and layers and layers. That's what it is. Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm done.
Russian tapas and awful music, but you get drunk and it looks great.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, because traditionally you have to be a little fucked up to enjoy peasant food, right? Because Russian food is peasant food. Like where I come from, it's like, bro, like the food we ate, like Americans are like, bro, are you okay? Like I told them, I didn't have a banana until I moved to America.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
They didn't have bananas.
Well, at that time.
Yeah.
Have
in
bananas
the 80s. in the 80s, right? And then when I came here, it was the first time I had tried a banana. You're like, yeah, like in Russia, we were eating to survive. That's why they have chaladiets, which is fucking chicken bones ground into jello, and then they suspend meat and eggs in it. And you're like,
Yeah, there's trade sanctions, bro. They didn't really have access to a whole lot. Yeah.
where,
I mean, Marlboro and Levi's is like, that was like fucking fair trade back then.
dude, my mom used to take a train
Yeah, if you had
to
cigarettes,
Georgia and buy Levi's and resell them in Russia.
it's like a huge thing.
Like you were the man back.
American
yeah.
staples were like basically traded in the underworld, basically as like
Yep.
status of
Yeah.
like.
My mom would go to Portugal just to get certain leather, certain jeans.
We get so like when you're in a American sanctioned fucking place, bro, in Cuba or somewhere else, and you go to these places and see when the world doesn't trade with you anymore because you guys aren't getting along on a diplomatic fashion, shit is very dry very fast, bro.
Yeah.
When they say it doesn't float unless they want it to float, that shit is for real.
Yes.
They mean it, bro.
It's like getting kicked off Instagram.
It's going to,
They're like, beat it, Cuba.
it's like being in a third world all of a sudden, that you go back in time because you just don't have access to any of the shit that is,
Right.
is current, you know?
And as Americans, we romanticize it. You go to Cuba and you're like, wow, it's so cool. They have so many vintage cars from like back in the day. And you live there, you're like, bro, this is awful. But to us, you're like, wow,
Yeah.
how cool that
Time
looks.
capsule.
Yeah.
But just,
The simplicity of that life there is charm to that.
of course.
And then there's also obviously when you have the access and the resources when you live here and you build that up, you're like, whoa, I don't know how I can live without it, because over there everything takes 10 times longer. Like if you want to get a quick meal, a lunch, you got to go cook that shit yourself and go figure it out.
Most of the world, though, most of the world eats at home. Like we're one of the few, we're truly 1%ers. If you can go out to eat like once a week, like my parents still don't go out to eat that often, right? And they're well off in America. It's just the culture is I have it at home. I'll save money.
Technically, I'll be honest with you, maybe it's because of the way I was raised. I don't really enjoy going out to eat too much either, unless it's a nice meal to a sick restaurant. But like eating out, just healthy meals and just going to like, I don't know. I'd rather
I'll be
cook it
honest,
at home.
It's either convenience or
It is convenient.
you're in a group that this makes sense. I'm on a date.
Yeah.
I'm on with friends and guys, and we're enjoying each other's company over a meal or whatever else for that type of thing, you know?
Right. I'll go out to eat until I can afford a private chef. And
Yeah.
then I'll have food at home. But
I mean,
for me, I get
it's sort
so much joy from having someone cook me a meal.
The best.
And no, anywhere really, because like you have a long day at work and you're like, bro, it's fucking awful. Let me go eat a meal somewhere at a restaurant that might be a little overpriced, but I'll be like, all right, everything's okay. I can afford this.
Sushi spot, yeah.
Which one was it?
Sure.
No.
With
Where's
pasta, right?
Beverly Glen Center.
Oh shit, that's right. Oh, 'cause I can only do it next week when my girlfriend's fucking spine surgery. Recovery is good. She can only eat like mushy foods, like
Oh, man.
That's rough.
eggs and cum.
Well, their eggs do have some cum on it sometimes if you don't cook it.
If you prep them right.
I hate that part of the egg too, by the way, when it's a little,
Runny?
yeah, when it's a little,
Nah.
as the gooey.
See, that's your American privilege coming through. In Russia, they'll eat the shell.
Yo, back in the day, I used to wake up and the guys that were like into sports, they'd be like, let's get up, let's go. And they would crack the egg and just fucking chuck it
Down the
on. I'm like, whoa.
Have you tried that?
Tried, disgusting. Gross.
Texture thing for me.
Yeah, same.
I could see Vince doing it.
They do that. There'll be like 5 eggs in. I'm like, whoa. But you can get a coli like that.
Well, I don't understand. What's the advantage of that I can't get from something else? Like, why do I have to consume raw eggs?
It's just a faster delivery system.
Yeah, faster delivery system for sure.
I think it's just to be like, I can do this and most people won't. So it's kind of like a lot of people are like beat their chest like, oh, I have a glass of fucking raw eggs all day. You're like, bro, who are you trying to show up to?
If I don't have
3
to
minutes to straight.
feel hard boiled, I'm good with that,
Yeah.
like consistently.
Cool.
Yes,
The peeling shit is whack.
the peeling was annoying, but that's what you got to
You gotta have a
do.
technique for peeling.
You got to do
Oh, you guys got a technique?
because you dip it in
From Russia,
and
man.
You just,
I know how to fucking clean some eggs fast.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a magic trick to
There's a magic trick. You put them in ice water right after.
Staking them around on the car shit.
the boiling water straight.
You put it into an ice bath.
Yeah, I do
And
that.
then you just crack them like that, and then you just kind of roll it, and they just slide out.
but if you don't do
I'll
that,
make you hard-boiled eggs one time.
There you go.
It'll be my pleasure.
Awesome.
I'll show you when you go.
Yeah, I'm not taking you to Noble Malibu, but I will boil you a dozen eggs and peel.
Great. I am with it. I like eggs.
love eggs.
Yeah.
Peeling hard boiled eggs does suck.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And then you think about like a restaurant that
Has fucking buffets with hundreds.
I'm like, fuck, this is a shitty ass gig, bro.
And let,
Like, very tedious.
like you fucking with the magic trick.
Yeah,
there's got to be
a Russian in the kitchen. I mean, most shitty jobs are shitty, right? Like if you're peeling eggs, it's better than sewing soccer balls,
That's true.
right? Like there's levels to shitty jobs. Like you could be a garbage man, that's gross, but then you also make really good money. Could you be a garbage man?
Do I have to touch the trash, or
That's usually what a garbage man.
Well, the truck sometimes forks it.
That is true, but then if shit falls out,
Yeah.
I'm still gonna have to touch.
you know what? Fuck, these garbage men really have a great life
Dumpsters
now.
are totally different. But everywhere else in the country, fools still run routes and like literally dump like cans. Pick up bags.
Like I'm only used to seeing like
Yeah, they don't have dumpsters everywhere. In the Midwest, and you get other places and back east, dumpsters are like, I mean, fuck, New York still piles it on the street. You know what I mean? These guys still grabbing handfuls and shit.
No, in New York, it's all day and you're just throwing it.
No alleys.
That's nice.
No alleys.
Yeah.
Chicago's a little bit better. They build alleys. They use New York as the model for that.
Yeah, Chicago is the improved version of New York.
It is.
Better food, cleaner,
Yeah.
a little colder, but
Better food.
better food.
Better.
Chicago is
Yeah.
probably the best food capital of
It is.
America
Chicago's probably the most slept on city in America.
because it's
It
cold.
does have really good food though.
It's a brutal winter, so it's kind of rough.
I think they romanticize the violence just to keep people away from it.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, no, it's heavy.
Now, South Side and West Side is pretty bad.
It's bad.
I think it's
pretty
just
bad.
look tough, right? To be like,
But it's
Nah,
bad.
it's
It's
bad.
active, but like in the same sense, like I've never felt unsafe walking around.
Well, in the city, you don't.
Yeah.
But you take a ride 5,
Yeah.
10 minutes down, bro. It's a little fucking aggressive. Like
Yeah.
we're talking about kids on like 13-year-old kids with tattoos on their faces, fucking smoking cigarettes, grilling you down. Like they'll run through your pockets like in 2 seconds, and then you have zero shame. It's like 14-year-old kids that are just straight up grilling you down. Like don't walk next to me, and you're like, all right, I feel it. You know, like New York used to be like that in some sense, in some places, but you don't feel it as much. In Chicago, you still take a ride and you go through certain neighborhoods. And you're like, I'm not getting out the car here.
Yeah, downtown is nice.
Downtown's beautiful.
It's a great city.
Yeah.
you been to Chicago?
Oh, you never been?
Like the Chicago airport.
Oh yeah, you got to go to the city though, bro. The food is amazing.
Insane. Maple and Ash, one of my favorite
Really,
restaurants.
it is actually really pretty. I mean, it's a pretty place, especially when the weather's good.
Yeah.
Even in the winter, it's not like. I mean, I wouldn't want to live there, but visiting is dope.
What's another slept-on city?
Slept on cities.
Toronto is great.
Toronto's a good city too. I shot a film there.
Toronto has a...
Yeah. They usually shoot it for New York. So if they're trying to cheat back in the day, they would always cheat Toronto for New York. You know,
Cheaper, right? And like
way
tax
cheaper.
incentives.
They were doing that. I mean, the Canadian exchange was better. They were doing the tax incentives for it. Yeah, sucks as an actor though because you got to pay dual taxes.
Well, you had to pay Canadian.
You have to pay both. It's fucked.
I'd be like, you're paying me when I land in America.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I'm
Yeah.
working for free.
Yeah,
Canada.
bad. You had to pay double taxes on everything, and they shot like everything there, bro. So it was like,
Your fault.
yeah, it was not good.
Toronto film culture got pretty big, though.
Yeah.
Their scene is huge right now.
Yeah, it's huge. And this was going back. I mean, I was like maybe 14, so it was, I'm 43. It's almost 30. Oh, fuck, that's almost 30 years. Wild. Yeah, cool city though. I'm sure it's grown so much since then too as well. Cold as fuck though.
Cold as
I
fuck.
shot it in the winter, and I'm talking like we were shooting under the subway tracks, so like they have another level that they train the drivers on and shit. And so it was like a vampire movie on the subway, so we were like running around on there and shit. And even though it was shot for New York, it's like 30 fucking below, legit, bro. They're like calling cut, and they're throwing parkas on you with warmers and shit because you're gonna fucking freeze to death in the dark down there. It's pretty gnarly.
One good thing about Toronto cold, though, it's not... Their humidity is not as bad.
Yeah.
And the wind is not as bad.
Mhm.
So it's freezing. It's like blistering cold.
Dry.
But it's dry.
Yeah.
Which is good. In New York, when it's cold...
I was in Minnesota and 15 with wind. I was like, this is fucking shitty.
Yeah. Minnesota's cool in the summer too.
And I rolled up in Lululemon.
Yeah, Minneapolis. I mean, they connect the fucking buildings.
You guys believe the Lululemon story or no?
Oh yeah, did you hear the little? Dude, he talked about it.
No, it's
yeah.
true, right?
That
It's been publicized as
He has two things. He believes that any company that starts with L, the guy who started Lululemon, is going to be successful because he's had success in the past. And he thought it was funny that Asians can't pronounce Lululemon, so he put 3 L's in there.
and it's from Vancouver, and it's a big Asian population.
And he thought it'd be funny that they can't say Lululemon, which is hilarious.
Can I actually not say Lululemon?
Asians can't pronounce L.
Yeah.
That's why they call Rary. Like, hi, my name's Rary instead of Larry.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
How bad is your racism? You're not even that racist. You don't even know any of these stereotypes.
Oh.
Maybe you're so racist you don't even interact with anyone.
Fuck. No.
Uh,
I pretty much interact.
Hey, you never
Yeah.
heard that story? Oh yeah, it's pretty. It's a good.
Ask an Asian friend to say Lululemon.
Okay, say
Hey, too big to fail though, right? They thought that coming out would be like a cancel moment, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, because
Stock
fucking
going up.
yeah, like spoiled white girls don't really give a fuck about racism unless it affects their Facebook page.
Yeah,
Right.
Talk about it
this
longer.
dude lives in Lululemon. He's like should be a spokesperson.
I should be. My whole closet is like,
The crazy thing about Lululemon for me as a guy, I just thought it was a girl brand.
They make good shit for
They
guys.
make they make
have good
unisex
stuff.
things, but I always associate them with like women's activewear.
Yeah, of course. This dude's a health freak though, and it's funny that he loves Lululemon. Yeah, you are.
well, yeah.
You're a health freak. You want to like optimize, and you wear like the worst fucking material on earth.
Would you-
Constantly head to toe?
Would you, if
All you have to
you're
do is,
trying to
like,
optimize
fucking-
what your health? I mean, obviously you were on our podcast. We discussed all your previous health troubles, but like,
This fool should be in nothing but linen and organic cotton.
But the reason why I like their pants is it holds my gun really well.
Gotcha. That is true, I guess, because you're the only guy that can carry a fucking pistol in fucking Lululemon
It's a
shorts.
spare bag.
I don't like it in jeans, bro. Or like with the
do you have
belt
the
down.
outline of the gun right in the front?
It actually is like fucking pretty. It fucking boggles my fucking mind. This fool can have a fucking staccato and an extra clip and a pair of Lululemon pants, shorts, bro, short
The
ones,
shorts I'm wearing right now.
and like it doesn't even fucking. I'm like, what the fuck?
You know what's
is this
funny?
fucking
People get
mysterious
stereotyped by,
magic.
by the clothes they wear now because one of my boys got into like a heated argument with in traffic, and it was
Traffic.
yeah, and it was with like one of these like hood kids, and he gets out the car and they get in each other's face. He goes, "Shut the fuck up! You got an Equinox hat on your head. I'll slap the shit out of you." And I'm like, it's just hilarious.
I mean, it basically the insult there is you're
Douchey.
you have more money. You're not from the streets. I'll literally slap you, right? Like I'm from the gutter. You live in like an ivory tower.
But the reverse part about it is my boy can probably rinse him actually, but he's wearing this Equinox hat. He just got, and he's like, damn, I can't even. He's like, what am I supposed to say to?
Argue with that.
He's like, it's a great insult.
How am I supposed to get back from this? You know?
Yeah, like if you were about to fight me and you're in Lululemon pants with a gun in it, I'd be like, there'd be a plethora of gay jokes I'd throw your way, right? It's just a matter of I'm trying to hurt your feelings because you made me angry.
Correct. But
Right? And an Equinox hat is like the easiest.
and my boy calls me. He's like, yo, honestly. He goes, after that, he's like, I just calmed down. He's like, fuck it. He goes, you deserve it. He goes, you could take the spot or whatever. I don't even care anymore because it made him laugh. He's like, yeah, you're right. You know, I got to throw the Equinox hat out.
Right.
If I want to argue with you in the street, like I shouldn't be arguing in the street with the Equinox hat on. You know what I mean?
Hey, the eucalyptus towels are pretty clutch though.
The gym is not that good though. Let's
No,
be honest.
it's not a good. If you're just into like, if you're into like pure working out,
Bro, it's
I know
not
what
like
got
a
it's
gym,
not
bro.
that great of a gym.
It's the only thing that is good about that gym is the bathroom. That's the only thing they crushed.
The amenities, the bathroom,
Waiting for the game.
that type of stuff.
The what gay comment?
No, he's
Yeah.
he's not yet. It's coming.
Your gay comments? I don't need to point out that you're gay. You do a good job of your.
So yeah, I promoted well. I wear it.
You're wearing that Playboy shirt as cover.
Yeah, I got this from
Like I love women.
I got this from what is the market? What are those markets called in fucking
That's nice.
in Silver Lake?
Oh yeah,
It's a dude and his mom,
and they actually
and they run the business together. It's like these t-shirts. She does the stitching and he does the selling, and it's the cutest thing of all.
What's it called? It's not a. It's a.
She does some kind of reverse sewing. It's
Yeah.
like a carpet.
Yeah, it's a
Some
carpet.
shit like that,
Carpet.
you know?
That shit's
How much was that?
Probably $30.
Yeah.
But it's just cool to see the son and the mom have a business together.
$30. This lady probably wasted 12 hours.
Yeah. No,
Doing
for
that.
real.
And he has a website and stuff. He's like,
Yeah.
it's just dope. He's like, oh, my mom is the one that does it. I was like, sold. So I don't even care. I said, I'm buying it. So you're running a business with your mom, Dukes, and you guys are pushing t-shirts. I love it.
How's the podcast going for you guys? How long you been doing that?
Under a year.
Yeah.
It's good. It's it's a journey.
Yeah.
You know, like none of us are like Logan Paul's where we're coming at it with like the most rabid YouTube audience where everything you touch turns to gold. I think this is like, I think we talk about it all the time. It's like, unfortunately, when you podcast, it's like people get to watch you train, right? It's like every time we go, we're going to the gym and hopefully getting better, and then eventually it gets recognized, right? Like Theo Vaughn didn't pop till he was 7 years in.
Yeah.
Right? He's on like episode 1400, and you're like, bro, at 52 episodes a year, that's literally like years and years and years of dedication until, you know.
I mean, Joe talks about that, bro. Joe used to be fucking anybody that would come and sit down with him. He's like, yeah, aliens, fucking,
It's just practice.
that's what, like, I don't give a fuck what these guys are talking about. Will you come sit here and talk about it for 3 hours? Great, line them up, let's do it. I mean, that motherfucker did it for, I used to see him, I mean, he was doing like I think he was doing UFC and still doing stand-up at the time, but we'd see him at the Spearmint Rhino at the strip club all the time, and he had been podcasting. This is 20 years ago, damn near, bro. I think he started then, almost, maybe not 20, but close.
Yeah.
Put in serious work.
It's just consistency, right?
Consistency to get to this point. They're like, oh, this guy's fucking killing it. He's got this huge platform. And I'm like, yo, bro, they were asking him why he was doing it then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it takes time, but what I like about it is like speed dating, because some people you don't know who they are when they come in.
Well, I threw you off the other day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
It's
I would
fun.
love to go speed dating.
It's a good time because you just get to like just kick it with people, meet them, and then not only that, but everybody infuses their networks together. It's fun.
That's the good.
And the thing is, it's genuine. It's not like it's fake. So when you actually get along with the person and you guys are like, yo, I want to help you, you want to help me, and it becomes like a community thing, I think that's the fun part about it.
Yeah, it's long form too. You get to like hear somebody's story develop and shit, and then have a rapport with them. It's a very personal thing, you know?
It really is true when they're like, oh, men should just do therapy. Because, like, think about it this way. Us four would never have this conversation if we didn't have these lights, these mics on this table. It's almost forcing us to get to know each other.
100%.
Versus, like, you know, just making content. Like, we're literally... You and I wouldn't have met. You and I wouldn't have met if it wasn't for this.
And you build a serious rapport, too.
Well, essentially, we're just recording our hang.
None of us are on our phones.
Which is right. Because if we're hanging out without microphones, you know, it's a lot of this. Oh, what'd you say? Oh, okay. Oh, dude, let's go get lunch. And you're like, I don't know anything about you.
There's no connection at all. Yeah, this does build a thing. Remember the still life thing when we went and fucking stared into the people? I talked about this the other day on the podcast. As we had a guest. They have like a meditation, basically like a meditation guru, but they have a facility and shit, and you come do courses and a seminar.
Think of the actual.
Yeah. But one of the activities in one of these intensive courses is he pairs people up in the room.
And the people you've never met.
Yeah, they're just other people at the course. And you guys sit 2 feet from each other in a chair, and you stare into each other's eyes.
For 5 minutes? It's a good amount of time.
7 minutes, 8 minutes, maybe even.
Yeah.
And say nothing, bro. And it's like the most...
And you can't look away.
First of all, we never do that at all. We're never quiet for that long. And he wants you to be like really attentive on like learning and seeing and feeling this like fucking connection that you get from another human being, because you never really look anybody in the eye for that long. Yeah, man, we look at each other in the eye when we talk and whatever. It's not like, let me fucking examine your face and see this. This is like
crazy how many details you picked up during that time.
Yeah.
Do you find that it relates you better to the other person? Because 100%. Every day I murder 100 people in my head. In traffic, someone cuts me off. I'm like, you don't need to exist. I wish you were dead.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm constantly murdering people throughout my day. So it's nice to also feel a little like love where you're like, oh, like if I stare at Val long enough, right, maybe I'll appreciate him more.
It was cool because it was like, I think we're also, I mean, as humans, what do we want? We want to be like received the right way or respected for who we are and whatever rate. In this, you found that, you know, you obviously probably wouldn't share space with this person in any other accord, but at some point you can just, if you're really there, lock in and kind of be like acceptant that there's another human being across from me and that we're probably not so different.
Because we all live on me.
Yeah.
Right.
I need, I want, I did. You know, it's everything becomes like, everything's out of my way. Like he said, I'm in traffic. Why are you in my way? I gotta go. I do.
Right. But if you had a sign on the back of that car, sorry, I'm rushing because my wife just had a heart attack and I'm trying to go meet her at the hospital, I would probably be more lenient if I got to know people's situations. But in that moment, all you're doing is inconveniencing me. And I'm like, die.
Because it's a personal ego thing too, right?
That shit too.
Right. I'm rushing to nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. If I'm in traffic and I'm boiling and melting down,
how about I tell you, doctors don't rush anywhere.
I'm angry at the situation I put myself in, that I'm in this traffic, but I'm not going anywhere important either.
Doctors are peacefully driving through the interstate, like peacefully, very peacefully. I'm usually the one that's fucking rushing, and then I have to ask myself, what the fuck? I just shaved off 3 minutes. Okay, bro, what did I really do here?
Being from New York, here, let's hear this, because LA traffic is different. And I feel like we're really separated from each other's like cultures and communities because we're not like forced to have to deal directly with each other, right? In New York, it's obviously way busier. And New Yorkers are definitely a little more aggressive in every regard. You know what I mean?
You're just in a shoebox with 80 cultures.
Yeah. But there is still some type of like common respect ground because, you know, this out of sight, out of mind, I can talk shit from my car and then we just go our separate ways and we fucking hate each other in our minds from there. But on the train, you actually have to deal with life because, you know.
Well, because you have to stand up and tell the person in their face that I don't like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And vice versa.
Right.
There is a repercussion to that too, because dude can just take off on you or whatever. You know what I mean? Things can get very.
But in New York, the proximity allows me to appreciate another culture. I might hate pieces of their culture that you're like, so annoying that they do this, right? But I also appreciate a lot of things in New York because you're forced to be around it. So you develop an appreciation, right? Versus most of America literally screams, build that wall, and then Cinco de Mayo, we're all Mexican, and then May 6th, build that wall again, right? Mm-hmm. So most people just get to experience the culture and jump right back out. But in like a major city, that's why major cities are mostly liberal cities because they're forced to engage with other cultures versus like, you know, cities that are more spread apart. They're like, I don't like, who are these Mexican people, right? Versus, you know, the Mexicans in your community.
In LA, we don't have to live with each other though. It's a weird thing because you drive separately and commute separately. Even if you live in the same neighborhood for whatever reason, you don't actually have to experience that culture, you know?
Sure.
You know, it's planted in a different culture's area, but
yeah, I mean, that's why Brian doesn't know that Asians can't pronounce R.
I thought it was L.
That's why it's funny you guys talk about Mexicans because in LA is the only time I felt the only people that stare you down or give you anything is kind of Mexican people. Like every time I'm on the highway, if I'm cutting them off or I'm speeding somewhere, they always open up the window and look at me. And I'm like,
yeah, you're in their lane.
And in my head, I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm like, this guy is stupid. I'm like, because he probably thinks I'm just like a LA person. But I'm like, sometimes, like yesterday, a guy was just short stopping on purpose. I'm like, yo, this guy's out of his mind. I came around, I stopped I literally parked my car, wasn't letting him go. And he realized, he's like, okay, I'm not dealing with like a normal white kid from LA. Because to them, they show that aggression and everybody steps back. In New York, we show that aggression and we move towards it. You know what I mean?
You know, Aztec warrior.
Right.
Definitely a very proud
right. I mean, you're driving in a city called Los Angeles.
No, I get it.
Right? It's their town.
I didn't realize that until
might be white. This is a white country, but like, let's not forget that like this is a predominantly Mexican culture.
No, this is Mexico, bro.
I'm like, yo, do you have your papers coming at me like that? I'm like, yo, let me see some paperwork, Bob.
Bro, you're an immigrant too.
Exactly, but I got it.
Yeah,
I got my paperwork in check though. That's the leverage, you know, because I wasn't used to that. That's the only time I feel like somebody actually gets a little aggressive in LA is when I see like a Mexican guy kind of like stop the car and just look at me. I'm like, oh,
more proof. It's LA shit, bro.
So I feel a little New York.
You feel what you feel is like actual Los Angeles culture though, because Los Angeles is a very like territorial, aggressive place too. I mean, you know, like all this gang shit comes from these neighborhoods and shit. So it is a very proud, like direct culture, you know. And not in a like scream thing. It's also like different than New York where we're not real verbal. It's very like quiet and smiley and then like extremely violent, you know?
I think gang culture is a lot more violent here than New York.
It's different.
For sure.
Because it's not like, well, yeah,
cost of living
type of, it's just spread out so far, bro, you know?
But you see how you said in New York, people don't live together in the community or whatever, and people split apart here and they go to their houses. Mm-hmm. The gangs do live together here.
That's what I was saying. The cost of living is cheaper. It's a lot easier to put 10 dudes in a house than 10 dudes in an apartment in New York.
Oh, well, this shit's all like, this is generational, bro. Mm-hmm. They invented, this is all neighborhood-driven shit. So the gangs aren't a gang, that's a neighborhood. And it's just people that grew up in that neighborhood over 3 or 4 generations. So it's literally like, that shit's so deep that it transcends like the police department. It literally is.
It's like the Italian mob in New York, right? Back in the day, where they just held so much influence.
Irish in this. It's like going back to watching Gangs of New York and seeing all of these different cultures and places, you know. And it's part of the fabric of the city itself. It's not even like a separated thing. You don't have to be from the neighborhood, but if you grew up in that neighborhood, you're somehow connected to it because you guys all went to the same school, ended up in the same thing. It's kind of that type of vibe.
Yeah.
Different animal, but still different. But yeah, I get what you said.
What's the worst city in America? What's the worst city you've been to?
Detroit, probably, no?
No, because you could buy a stadium for $200,000. That sounds great.
I haven't spent a lot of time in Detroit, but when I was there, the Chaldeans took good care of me, and I actually fucked with the vibes a little bit, you know?
Ooh, I was going to ask you, did you get to meet Eminem?
I've met M once when I was younger. I didn't meet him doing the video.
Doing the video, I was going to say.
Yeah, no, he was in Detroit. They shot him in Detroit, and then they shot us. We all shot.
He doesn't leave Detroit, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he's touring or whatever.
Right.
No, but he lives there, yeah. And it was cool because during that, actually, they were talking about how he had this long hair and beard, and this fool was riding his bike around 8 Mile, and nobody knew who the fuck he was. And he was like the happiest he's ever been because he's like, he could just be free. And it's been 20 years since the dude's been able to go anywhere. He used to have to fucking like literally have him close the malls to go Christmas shopping for his kids and shit. The dude can't go nowhere. He's on that Michael Jackson level where it's like,
yeah,
fucking stop traffic.
Can I invite you for some questions? Because now, before going down, did you ever meet Michael Jackson?
I didn't meet Michael. So this is a crazy story. So I know Kieran Culkin because we did Father of the Bride together. And then obviously Macaulay was very close with Michael, and the family was very close with Michael. And I actually was going to go to the ranch with them at one point. I had a birthday party scheduled. I was probably like 9 or 10, I guess, would be around that time.
If someone's dragging me to another birthday party, I'd be like, I can go ride roller coasters at Michael's house.
Yeah, basically. This fool's got a tattoo. He's got a fucking room full of Sony products. Like, sounded like a pretty good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And obviously they spoke very highly of him. So, but no, I never did intertwine. And other than that, but yeah, my little brother was in M's Stan video, so I actually was on set when they were shooting that, which was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, it was a dope set, and it was huge because it was like
Blackhawk brother.
No, Dakota, my younger brother.
He was Stan.
He was Devin. So Devin Sawa played Stan in the video. He was his little brother in the video.
Cool.
Yeah, so he was like the kid at the end that was waiting in the cold. You know what I mean, to get the autograph and shit. But
that's crazy.
It was when they were still. I mean, this is at the height of Eminem and Dr. Dre and Aftermath, and they were still spending hella money on shooting videos. So it was like prime hip hop era. That was way different, bro. Because I did a Busta Rhymes Sprite. Was it Sprite or Mountain Dew? It was Mountain Dew. A Mountain Dew commercial with fucking Busta Rhymes. That was like, I mean, probably had like a $7 million budget, bro, to shoot a commercial. You know what I'm saying? It's like that level of money was still involved.
Does that get passed down to the actors? Like, are you?
Yeah, the residuals from that was crazy. You know what I mean? Because that's all, like, when you did a commercial back then, that shit was residual. People lived off commercials. There's people that had, like, they would pay holding fees on Christmas spots. I know a kid that did a Hoover vacuum commercial. He made money off of that shit for 30 years, bro. Yeah. Every Christmas, they ran it again, and he literally lived off of one commercial. He did one day for 30 years. They pay him holding fees all year, and then they would run the spot again just because it was that was their Christmas spot.
Isn't that crazy? One of the incredible parts of the business for
it
you?
Was.
Where you were like, hey, if I just get as much paper as I can in the beginning, I will hopefully get trickle down money for the rest of my life, right?
It used to be like that.
Do you get paid every time Goonies is bought, showed anything? Like, how does that world work?
Yeah, you still get.
I go buy Goonies right now on Amazon. Yeah, you somehow getting a penny, 10 cents. Like, is it?
Yeah, actually get residuals from it.
Oh, okay, cool.
But it's not anything that's livable anymore. It's like a time period where things go down in
sunset clause, or whatever.
Yes. And now everything's buyouts, so the game's totally different. It's way easier to work.
What happened?
Oh. It's way easier to get work now because there's obviously a lot more of it, and anybody can submit themselves.
Well, everyone's private fucking movies now. They're funding themselves. It's not.
Well, there's a million streaming services. They need content. They don't care. You know what I mean? But it's all buyout shit. So you go work for $400 a day. You ain't making no fucking money. You can't live off of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to have a fucking
work every day.
show and then make it get past a couple of seasons where they can renegotiate. You know what I mean?
When a hit show is a lot harder nowadays.
Are you still actively involved in the acting world or no?
No, I did a film recently. I had a little cameo in. Here and there, people hit me up and I'll do cool shit just because, but I don't try to be an actor, no. Grinding out auditions it was never really my
Do you
thing.
think it's better to start as a child actor or start as like an adult and kind of come into it without having, we've all seen the documentary about how kids get ranked through that system and pedophiles and sexualization, etc.
Yeah. It was a really rough, obviously there's a period in time where the kids that came out of that didn't fare very well, right? The business was...
Because you're a product that they're selling, and they're going to do everything they can to monetize it, right?
100%. It's very, what have you done? What have you done for me lately? It's weird because you can be the hot kid for a moment, and then they could give a fuck less about you. It's a very fucked up thing for a young mind to think
deal
of all
with
this attention and then not, But in the same regard, to me, I was like, when I got to be an adult and I had been doing this for so long, and I had a fucking 20-year career already, and I'm like, damn, I don't even know if I like doing this shit. And I've been doing it. It's fun to work. There's definitely things that were cool, but when you start to think about it, you're like, well, I didn't really sign up for this. It's not something that I actively pursued. So for my kids personally, I would rather them be like, that's cool. You want to act? That's something that you're going to have to actually want to study the craft and then take it seriously,
Do you think that's romanticized a little bit, your statement? Because I'll be honest with you, ask anyone with a dream, it's a job. It's a job, right? Yeah. So, can you pick anything you want in this world that's going to make you blissfully happy? I don't think so, right? If you want to be...
Period.
Right. You could be excited, but, am I excited about waking up and making merch every day? Not always, right? Or, going to a party where I'm like, oh, I just want to lay in bed. So it's a job some days, right? No matter what you love.
Business and money tends to take the fun out of things, right? It takes away the passion drive that you have for it because it adds in, ulterior motives and things, and you got to do things that are uncreative, right?
Right. That's why when you design something, you're like, this looks pretty to me, but someone will be like, what'll sell better is if you change this color, move that to there, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you what, I want to do colorful merch. I've always loved, I'm a fucking, I call him gay, but I'm twice as gay as him. Right? I love neons. I love tie-dyes. And my business partner was like, bro, black will outsell everything. And it does. It does. Black is the number one t-shirt we'll ever sell.
Of course.
But do I love the shirts? I sacrifice art for money.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, also, I don't want to be sitting in a closet full of tie-dye shirts. I'll probably be...
You either hit the wave or you don't.
Money.
Yeah.
Right? One way or another, my art, something, there are sacrifices.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. It takes the fun out of it when you start to get it to a certain level. You know what I mean? And but creation is still a good thing. This is art. Creation is what? Left brain, right? Artists live in the right brain, and then all other shit is left brain activities. So anything that has to do with money or business is a left brain activity, and the artist doesn't want nothing to do with it.
Right.
It's over here.
That's why there's so many, people in Central Park who know how to paint but don't know how to sell it.
Yeah.
Right. You go see a guy painting a beautiful landscape, you're like, oh, it's probably as good as a Renaissance painting, but you're like, there's no marketing, there's no business mind behind it.
Yeah.
So it's just, think about how much art just gets disposed because that person.
We're in a rare time because most of the time artists died poor, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get recognized until after their death, and they usually led pretty fucked up lives. You know what I mean?
Very.
And then ended up being a thing. Writers, artists, all types of creative minds. We're in a weird time where you can actually be a living legend and be hot while you're alive.
Because everything's getting...
It's almost crazier pressure too, right? I don't understand, what Van Gogh was going through when he cut off his ear and made art at the time, or whether he was successful. But I feel do you think maybe he was just it was art without the business? Now it's art with the business, right? The first artist I knew of that made money while they're alive was Pablo Picasso, where you're like, oh, sick. This dude's fucking wealthy off his art.
Yeah.
But he probably had to sacrifice a lot.
Well, he did. He had a pretty crazy life as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We're in a weird time because, things are monetized instantly and everybody has access to you behind the scenes. They kind of have to, you know what I mean? That's part of the game now, right? As an actor, I could have been a really great actor and nobody knew who the fuck I was or what I actually did in my life. That's why they say don't meet your heroes, because some of these guys were just total douchebags, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's all about social. So if you don't have a following, you're not going to be on the next thing, bro, because
you can't pull the eyes. You got to pull the eyes.
the draw, right?
Yeah.
So it's all intertwined into this new thing.
Do you think this is better this way? It fully makes artists be responsible for the 360 package that they're presenting versus like, I just get to make my art and hopefully someone else
it
goes
takes
sells
the
it.
magic out of it, bro, because it used to be able to create and drop and then like go live your life and be a little more free. Now these guys have to second guess themselves, right?
And not only that, but the quality went down, right? The turnaround speed is just is better.
Yeah.
Like the flip side of it is it's way quicker and efficient, but movies are not memorable.
Not at all. Very rarely. I mean, think about Coppola, bro. I just seen an article about him doing Apocalypse Now. And like this motherfucker had to finance it himself, took out loans on his Godfather fucking royalties. I mean, he put like $60 million or something, $30 million into that film, into a fucking Vietnam War epic after the Vietnam War that just ended, super over budget, crazy shit going on in the jungle and nobody got along. I mean, that dude was like, nobody would do that today. I mean, that dude was fucking next level out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Taking loans.
Dude, when a movie came out back then, like the whole world went to see it too, right? Like now you're like, I have so many options. All these people. To me, I think this is kind of how, I don't know, maybe I'm older now and I'm seeing it for what it is. But as a kid, news was just news and that's what it was. But now everything is like, I need eyeballs on this news so I can sell ad space. So news has to become sensationalized. Yeah. And so everything in the society now is just like, what's going to make the quick amount of eyes to Netflix? Let's put out this movie with Kevin Hart. We don't even care about what he could be farting for 2 hours straight. As long as it says Kevin Hart,
they're going to watch it for the next 2 weeks.
Right. Versus like, you know, there's a reason they say, like, if you really think about it, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs by Disney, they said by today's standards, or not Snow White, what is Citizen Kane? One of those movies is like the number one selling movie of all time, even compared to juggernauts today, because, you know, count for inflation, like Snow White might have done like $150 million in sales, but the ticket was 5 cents. Right. So you look back then, like going to a movie was like the last time I experienced it was Top Gun. Right. For some reason, Top Gun 2, everyone was like, we finally got a good movie. And everyone went, wow, that was
special too.
Right. It became,
I was in Vegas. I was in Vegas playing a poker tournament, and I went and watched Top Gun by myself at a theater and damn near walked out crying because it was such a fucking epic. It's hard to find that emotion in anything anymore.
But I grew up going to see Something About Mary 6 times in theaters. You can catch me in a movie theater watching any movie these days.
Dune 2?
Too long and boring for me.
I couldn't get into it.
That shit's 2.5 hours.
I tried to put it on and I couldn't. I'm not there anymore. I don't have the mental capacity for it, I guess.
It's not a lot of.
It's not for me. It's just not.
I don't like slow burn, like where it's a painting. You're like, I get it. It's beautiful to look at, but like, come on.
I like Guy Ritchie pace. I don't know. I like
Me too.
thrillers and action. This, a little bit of comedy, darkness, you know.
Oof. If I could be in a movie, it would be a Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie, yeah, it's great.
Sick.
Great films, yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
I love also like the stories he chooses.
Yeah, dope. It feels real. It's got some grit to it. I love foreign films for that. I usually like trend towards like foreign gangster films because I just love the way they're shot, different views on cultures.
Guy Ritchie needs to do the $30 million heist that they just did on Easter.
That'll be, yeah.
That's what he needs.
Coming up.
He needs to hit that.
Yeah, who knows? 7,200 pounds. That's how much cash it is. 7,200 pounds.
That's a lot of fucking weight.
But that's us assuming that it's $100 bills, right?
I don't think so. I think they equated for it being mixed, but still 7,200 pounds.
So I'll take 7,200 pounds of pennies.
Do you see the hole that they came out of?
Yeah, on the wall. Yeah,
yeah. You show so fire. I hope these guys don't get caught. I'll be honest.
It's gonna be really hard. I feel like that's enough cash for like a lot of like inner things to go on. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people's lives are going to be touched just by the amount of power and energy that $30 million
touch out of the U.S.
Same. Right.
Yeah,
right.
30 million.
How you can get out of it with 7,200 pounds of cash? You should watch this show. Have you seen The Gold? It's so The Gold is about a gold heist in England. It's a series. And I want to say Charlie Hunnam is in it. He's one of the main characters, but it's dope. It's an English show. it's cool, and it's about this big gold heist in England. It was the biggest heist in history at the time, and they stole like bullion out of a place, and then these guys had to fence it. And how hard it was to fence, because the gold market is so regulated. It was that much weight in gold, millions and millions of dollars in the 70s in pounds, that like it wasn't an easy task to get just to clean it. You know what I mean? Or like to, so it's all about them trying to catch up with these cats.
Cleaning the cash nowadays is not as hard, but
It's volume though, 72 pounds.
but like what he said,
How many
transferring it
people do you have
is
to
very
touch?
tough.
What are you going to do with it?
I mean, there's a way to do it if you know enough people in the crypto space. A lot of crypto guys like the cash.
Everybody has to touch it though. That's how many minds, like with every other person is one more liability, right?
It's going to take
Surprised some Armenians got it.
Yeah, they probably could. The whole point is like, then that's just another element of a layer of like
Risk. Someone
Risk.
collabing.
risk
How
management.
do you know the guy you're talking to isn't going to clip you?
Risk management for sure, but if you get some,
I guess you could do $500,000 at a time.
you got to do you got to go slow.
Those are problems you don't want to have.
No,
They're thinking about pulling off something at that scale, which they probably
Start a
didn't
business.
know.
nah.
Start a company.
That 30M
What are you
skis.
gonna do? You're gonna sit it somewhere. Like, how do you?
Yeah, but you have to. But like you said, if you're smart and you can manage your living, and you don't have to go right away buying Bugattis and buying fucking Patek.
Just get a job if you're going to have to live like a person who has a
Yeah, but why get a job if you can just self-manage yourself?
Well, because the risk
That is the
of robbing
constant-
someone.
That is the constant conundrum of criminality, right? Is that
crime doesn't pay.
no matter how you look at it, is that they've done the numbers on it for like, they looked at it from like the crack era of crack dealing. And they said for the time spent and how hustle of these guys and actually hours they actually put into the craft, if that's what you want to call it, they're upside down, bro, at like every angle.
Oh,
If you look
become a
at the
heart
raw
surgeon if
numbers
you
of
have
it,
that
you're like, you're so far upside down that it doesn't make sense. Unfortunately, we romanticize that in American culture, and this is what drives that thing.
Not only American culture, every culture.
Because it's
Yeah.
easy. Because to us, it seems easy. I go through that wall. I get 30 million. My life changes. That's why people play the lottery. That's why people gamble.
Yeah.
They're trying to find a way out of
Quick fix.
the 9-to-5 grind.
Yeah,
Even though, like he's saying, if you're going to be hustling money like that, now you have a 24/7 grind and you're looking over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't know, everyone becomes your enemy real fast, right? No matter how successful you are, if you're doing shady shit, you eventually feel like you're pigeonholed alone because you can't trust anyone.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. What did Bill Gates say to Warren Buffett? He said, Warren, your investing strategy is so simple. Why don't more people adopt it? And he said, because nobody wants to get rich slow.
Yeah.
Just as like nobody wants to just sit there and compound or like really do raw numbers on businesses and invest slowly and build it.
yeah.
Anybody's capable of it.
Everybody wants a quick flip.
That's it.
You know,
Because they think that I don't have that much time left on earth. And but guess what? Like, life is long. It is short. You know, when you lose someone, you're like, wow, life is so fragile. But then, like, on the day-to-day, you look at it, you're like,
Long.
oh, man, like, every day, I don't know about you, but, like, the minute I started freaking out about being an adult is when I was like, oh, my God, every day I spend money.
I just saw the meme.
Day.
I sent you that meme of Cillian Murphy just this morning. And it was like him just like looking and thinking. And it said, what did it say? It said, oh, the world didn't end during the eclipse. And now I got to go. And he's like, and me realizing I got to pay bills again. And he's just like, it's just like,
yeah, because nobody wants the long game. Everybody wants like today, right now. Let's go eat right now. Let's do this right now. Everything's right now. Nobody lives for the long term.
What do they say? I think we overestimate what we can achieve in a year. And we supremely underestimate what can be achieved in a decade.
Well, that's what the whole point of the podcast, right? Is like Val and I, when we started it, you know, I come from a different world than Val, right? Like Val, you know, I have the clothing company, so I have a little bit of like a safety blanket where I was like, yo, I think this is going to be a slow, long play. We're going to play this until we become Theo. Hopefully it doesn't take 7 years, but, you know, a lot of people jump into podcasting and go like, this better pop off or we're done. Right. And
Is it like 85% of podcasts don't make it past episode 10?
yeah, well, also, you know, luckily you guys have the infrastructure. We have
lot
the
of work.
infrastructure.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work because
Even if you're doing it
creating art, you're just creating art. One way or another, someone's got to edit it. And if it's not, you don't have the money to pay them, then you better be doing it yourself. And that's where I think people fall off. They're like, I don't know how to I know how to record, but I don't know how to fucking regurgitate it back to the world.
And live edit.
Yeah.
It's getting easier now with tech, but in general, it's work. It's not easy. Everybody thinks they're just going to pop down, record, and next thing you know, I got $100 million deal from Spotify.
Yeah, they're like, oh, Theo Vaughn, all he does is talk. I'm like,
Hey,
dude,
maybe somebody might pop too. That does happen. Somebody wins the lottery. Maybe.
Yeah, it's
You know what I mean?
but anything good takes time.
It takes time.
You know what I mean? Like building a good clientele takes time. Building a clothing company takes time. Everything takes time.
Yeah. It's a lot of people got rich overnight, but nobody's seen the years of work that came into it before.
Correct.
I believe the phrase is success is like being pregnant. Nobody knows how many times you got fucked to get there.
Yeah.
Very good way to put it.
Right? It's just a matter of how long can you continue getting fucked over, and then that's it. That's literally all I believe success is just overcoming fuckery. Anyone can overcome great things, right? Like, oh my God, it's a great day. Everyone can do it. It's the people who go, I can't do this today. I'm quitting. I'm going to go back to do something else. I can't handle the pressure of the bullshit of this, right? And the people who keep staying are the ones who outlast. And eventually they become, hopefully, a pillar of that field, right? Like Theo Vaughn outlasted, I'm sure, millions of podcasts. And that's what put him up on that.
Nobody fails as an entrepreneur. There's people that stick it out and succeed, and then there's people that quit before they succeed. And that's just kind of the simple thing about it, you know? That's just the way they look at it. You know?
Just picking something to stick it out with, that's all that matters. Yeah. But it's tiring, it gets boring, it gets annoying,
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Especially as you get older,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
what's coming up for you guys? What do we have to look forward to? Do assholes live forever? Seems like it, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a kind of like, depends what,
what kind of asshole?
What kind, yeah. Plenty of good people die too. Bad people die, thank God. I don't know, dude. I think it's kind of like, I'm not a fan of people who talk out their ass about how much they're killing it or what they've got going on.
You mean like my whole Instagram feed right now?
Or people just like, yo, I got this.
Yeah.
The whole algorithm?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm more of a fan of like, dude, this is the slow play. Follow me along for my journey. It was parties. It's still a little bit parties. Now it's merch. In 10 years, it'll be something else. In 20 years, it'll be something else. I'm just working on me. I'm sure Val's working on him. You guys are working on yourself, but I'm not complete. I don't know. Okay, we're working on a Spencer's deal for Assholes Live Forever, but no point talking about it because I don't have the fucking PO yet, right? So it's kind of like, I'm kind of a boring entrepreneur because I don't really like to brag about.
Well, you just also, you're not going to...
the fire without them being complete.
That's fine. There's motion, though. That's all that matters.
Yeah, motion is the most important part, honestly. But that's the thing. We live in an era where people kind of glaze every situation and make it brighter than it really is. But that's just the game, right?
Marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing. Everything online that we see is just you know what I mean? When they show you
It's bad. It's like overwhelming at this point because everything is fucking like paid advertisement, and it's all like, most of these guys probably aren't that successful. And if the little success that they do have is paid by people that want to learn how to be successful, and there's really no secret to it, you just got to get up every day and do it.
Yeah, it's a pyramid.
It's just inflated FOMO. Everybody wants to make you feel like you're missing out on not being around them, or not doing what they're doing, or not being at an event they're going to, or not doing the business they started.
Yeah, it's supposed to make your life look shitty.
What happened to killing it quietly?
Oh, it's not. Russians still do it.
Real hustlers, exactly. Real hustlers used to be like that.
Yeah.
The last thing they wanted you to know is that they were getting it,
correct,
or that how they were getting it,
correct. I mean, that's why
look mysterious, right?
That's why Apple's still good at that, right?
Yeah,
they kind of make you forget that Chinese children are gluing our phones together, right? Like they kill it in silence.
They do.
They let us forget all the bad shit they're doing so that we can enjoy scrolling on Instagram endlessly and hating our lives.
Well, like Kirill said, he mentioned it to me. He goes, "Why would somebody be selling a course if they're killing it?"
It would.
Right, so...
Michael Phelps doesn't teach swim classes.
Right.
You think I want every dickhead in the world?
Charity, right? But he's not like, join my swim club.
$100 million a year doing e-commerce? The last thing I want is to tell you how I do it.
I don't have time.
Nor do I have
to train a bunch. If you're dumb enough to sign up for my course, like, good for you, but like, I also don't want to teach you.
He goes, LeBron doesn't walk off the court and goes, "Hey, let me teach you guys how to be the best basketball player in the NBA," right?
Yeah, I'm always weirded out by, that fucking funny phrase, those who can do and those who can't teach. Right.
That's
the
how we
people
set
who
up
don't know how to
practice.
do something are stuck teaching it.
So the actors are the actors and the teachers are the teachers.
That's why
There is some crossover, but like
How many bad acting teachers are there?
a lot.
Yeah.
But that's why when I talk to my girl and she's like, I'm still trying to figure out how to pick a couple lanes. Like I have a lot of different things going on inside, but I want to finally in my life just pick a project and just stick to it for like 10 years. Because usually I'm from an area where we juggle like 40 million hustles and just scrap paper from every corner, which is cool. That works. But building something and focusing on something, I think, is more fulfilling at this point in my life.
It is.
Right?
I don't even think it might be as fulfilling. Like, I love your hustler mentality. And to me, I feel like that seems sometimes more fulfilling. But I think you're realizing that as older you get,
It's not sustainable.
I can't be 60 and managing
Correct.
17 different hustles. I want one.
To get motion, you have to have action. Once the motion is created, the no's are way more important, right? I'm
Excellent.
still at a point in my life where I'm like, yeah, I should probably be turning down more shit than I should be doing. But shutting that switch off is very difficult because you know what it's like when the phone's not ringing. So, okay, what's next? Bop, 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 bop. Let's get on it. You know what I mean? So it's like finding that wave to be like
Correct.
the big shit moves off
Right.
of no, right? And let me focus on this thing.
Can't be immediate. And when you get used to immediate, you start looking ahead and you're like, damn, that's far away. Like I'm used to paper coming in right now. Let's go. Come on, pump it. But going back to just real quick, the point I was trying to make is that when me and my girl talk about this and I go, you want me to go back to school to listen to a business professor teach me how to do business, but he's not even involved in any businesses? I said, I can't even take him serious when he can't even he doesn't even know how to make 1,000 a day. He doesn't know how to make 500 a day. He could teach me the terminology and he can read through the same book that was written, but what is he going to teach me? He's not going to teach me anything, right? So they're going back to
doing what he's doing.
Right, going back to these courses, it's like, bro, if a teacher is making, like, no offense, like, salute to all the teachers because they're also great value and asset to the society, but if you're making $70,000 a year in the world that we live in right now and you're teaching business, but you're not making it on the back end, it's like, it just doesn't make sense logically, right?
Yeah.
So how are these guys making courses and teaching me how to make millions of dollars? Like,
There's a difference between college and a charlatan on stage where you pay to go up to an arena and they're like, oh, invest in my business course, right? I assume that when you go to like Wharton for business, you're getting some sort of at least insight into the business world. The guy might not be the CEO of Microsoft who you want him to be.
He's closer than the teacher, that's for sure.
Right.
You know?
So they say the guys,
Yeah, but you know,
guys that
the best schools, like I went to a shitty art school and I left because I was like, I know more than the teachers. But if I went to a good art school like Parsons, like the teachers who teach fashion design there is sometimes Donna Karen, sometimes Tommy Hilfiger, right?
That part.
You go to a good school,
that's cool.
the people that show up, right? Like you go to University of Miami, there's a Dave Grutman class.
Yeah.
Right? There's tons of people who are capable, who will pass down their knowledge. It's just a matter of where you're getting that knowledge from, right? Like I don't think I'd get a good degree at my shitty art school I went to for art. I didn't learn much, right? We learned color theory, we learned all that. I didn't pay attention because I was also not interested. But
yeah, if you go to NYU for film school, you're probably going to have some solid talent coming in.
Yeah.
also you're buying the connections. You're buying the
buying the
network.
connections.
You're like, I might not learn much from film school because it's an art, but I will at least get plugged into the system somehow.
I think
right?
that's
Like Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Fucking,
That's the most important part, I think, about those schools. You got to get into a school that actually has those connections, and then that pays off tenfold, right?
Yeah.
But then the average,
if you work it.
Yeah, if you figure out the way in the chess and how to play it, it works. But I'm saying for most part, it's like you got to get into that school.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing they can teach you in school is to be able to handle pressure. And that's what we don't have as society anymore, is handling pressure. Because everyone goes, if I feel a little pressure, it's somebody else's fault. I feel this way, and now I'm going to be outraged about it. As opposed to learning how to manage like real fucking pressure would probably go a long way than learning the fucking Pythagorean theorem, right? Or learning, how to do your own accounting. Because
Actualized.
it's just like being like, these people just need to be set up for the mental game of it. Not the
failure.
to learn the regulations of the SEC if they become a star. It's like, can you handle the environment where people are throwing them. Like, I have a friend who literally punches his computer once a week because, like, oh, a deal fell through in the matter of 10 seconds for $10 million that he was trying to broker, right? And you're like, and other people are like, this is violence. I'm scared at the workplace. You're like, dude, like, this is a high pressure situation. There's a lot of money on the line. Like, we don't have time to babysit your feelings. So you better show up ready to handle it, right? Like, if you show up on set and start crying because, oh, they didn't have this, they're like, bro, like, you better learn how to. You're a piece of a bigger machine, and if you're not helping it run smooth, like, bro, we can replace you. Until you get to the level of Dave Chappelle where you're irreplaceable, right? Then that's the
Everyone's replaceable.
Yeah.
After Dave,
That's the moral of the story. Everybody's replaceable, so work hard.
Yeah, because we're all dead in 80 years anyways.
Yeah.
100 years, right? So you have to be replaceable. Otherwise, what? The world would stop functioning every time someone died?
Yeah.
If the CEO of Verizon dies tomorrow, like, my phone still works. He's replaceable.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Truth hurts.
It's called fabricated fairness.
Where can people find you guys and the show and everything else?
The show is Listen Ugly on, I believe, YouTube, right?
YouTube and
Instagram, but the actual name is Ugly on the inside. So we have a website. It's called listenugly.com, right?
Yep. It's all the episodes are on there. It's Val and I just bullshitting with guests. You know, it's not for the faint of heart sometimes.
It's okay.
I behaved a little bit today here.
Okay.
But, like, usually we're just, you know, like,
He doesn't behave.
I don't care because I don't have red tape. And
I mean,
like,
he behaves. It's not like...
This is the only, I will speak about things I can defend.
Yeah.
I try not to speak about things I can't defend. So, like, when I say out of pocket shit, is like, give me a moment. I'll win you over.
The good part about the screen now is that you can change the channel. If they don't like it, it's not for them.
Correct, but unfortunately they don't. They just get fucking
George
flustered.
Carlin said that. You know, he's like, you know, the FCC exists because a pastor saw something he didn't like on TV. And he's like, hey, pastor, it's called freedom of choice. Change your channel.
That's right. One of my favorites.
Right? It's right next to freedom of expression, which is what I have.
Mm-hmm. Part of the game.
Don't watch me. That's it.
Yeah.
If you don't like me, I've never participated in things.
Talking shit and going back and forth with each other. That's fine, too.
Yeah.
Whatever. Fuel the fire.
That one post I did where they were going back.
What post?
It was
Emily.
Yeah, we had Emily on, and then there was something in it.
Girls,
Yeah.
like, lowering their value.
But that's
Who's Emily?
Her thing is Emily Saves America.
Oh, yeah.
That's
That chick who does, she's like, she's OnlyFans is ruining America. Is that her whole stance?
she's just very, like, straightforward and I guess, like, pro-right, you could call it. But that topic was that her feelings on OnlyFans.
It's interesting because religion art is littered with nudity, but, you know, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, her take on it was, like, more of the long-term ramifications for a lot of these people of, like, what they're exposing themselves to.
The consumer or the producer?
Both, actually, you know?
Both.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to each their own, but in some regards.
Backbreaking work, but so is roofing in the summer.
Yeah. It's true.
Once again, depends how extreme it gets.
Yeah. I don't know nothing
Your
about
body, your choice, bro. You want to shove 10 remotes in your pussy and sell it. God bless that we live in a world that is monetizable, because my mom had to literally take a train to sell Levi's to make money.
Perspective.
That is.
For some people, they enjoy the train and Levi's. Some people don't. It just depends who you are.
Yeah, they're just emotionally attached to their skin, which I'm not.
Yeah.
Some people will do OnlyFans and be like, damn, I'm good. I'll go sell Levi's again. You know?
Well, they can't handle the pressure, right? You have to be strong.
That's why it's perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be able to handle being called a whore 24/7. And a lot of people can't. No amount of money that is given
Or you
for that.
got to be handling getting called a herb for selling Levi's on the train. So if you're going to handle something,
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you handle.
OnlyFans pays more, so I'd rather be called a whore.
Yeah, I mean, that shit has broken things wide open, obviously. I mean, what a crazy platform that is.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So happy it exists.
Yeah, I've never even actually been on, but
Same.
they have amount of numbers and seeing the relevance of that is pretty.
I don't pay for porn, but it's insane that it's this big, financially.
I mean, it's, you know, it's one of the original businesses, I feel like. So it's always been around, you know. Maybe not porn, but prostitution or just
It's the world's oldest profession.
sexuality.
You could always trust the fiend to inflate. The sexual.
I love the
sex
term
market.
objectifying so much. It's such a weird word when people are like, "You're objectifying me." I'm like, the objects of my life I take care of. I don't come home and beat my toaster,
Perspective.
right? So if I treat you like an object, you're probably treated pretty well in my life.
Better
My
than,
iPhone has a case.
better than people at this point.
Yeah. Objectify me, please.
Yeah.
Perspective.
Perspective.
Would you ever do on OnlyFans?
No, I don't really think I have anything to share, you know?
I mean, between your legs, you do. You have a lot to share.
What about you?
Will I do OnlyFans?
Yeah.
I will tell you this. If it got at a point where it got really dark and someone's like, hey, how do you want to make some money? And someone's like, you make $1 million a year with you and your girl fucking, or you and your girl both have to live in a van.
Why you say that you have to be in a dark place to do OnlyFans?
I say that OnlyFans to me would be a means to an end. I don't enjoy being naked, right? I'm not there yet, right? So it's it.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah, OnlyFans to me is like an ingenious safety blanket from poverty.
It's like, I love the people that do it, but it's fucking dark if you're doing it.
Yeah, it is. I love the people that are fucking fighting for in the American military, right? But I'm like, I ain't doing that shit.
Right.
Like, I'm not fucking building iPhones either. I love the little fucking kids that have to do it, right? Right, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, man. That's the benefit of America. What? We get to sit at this table and discuss.
How bad we have it while the rest of the world's
Right.
on fire.
We talk
Yeah.
about.
I mean, well, at least we can have the conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to happen more in a safe space. Long form is great for that because somebody wants to listen, they can hear people's real opinions.
Context,
Yeah.
right? You can pull a clip from me.
We can
saying
pull a
he-
clip from this and it sounds terrible or it sounds great.
Yeah, it depends, right?
Exactly.
If you listen to the whole episode, though, the beauty also is that there's like, in the long form and people getting comfortable with each other, the magic really happens, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
like
chemistry, yeah.
first beginning is cold. Yeah.
Like when you time it out, then it just everybody feels stuck.
But why time it? None of this is live, right? Like,
No, there's some
This doesn't cost
they
tape.
don't know that at 60 minutes they're done.
Yeah.
I feel like, bro, why would you stop whatever we're pursuing?
I have another friend that stops at 30 minutes on this, and he does 13 in a day.
Well, that's
Yeah, but at that point, is it art? At that point, is it just a machine?
They're just banging out episodes to bang out episodes.
yeah, that's not, there's no magic there though. You kind of, the beauty of the platform is that we can just keep going, and in that you find these moments that are like really great. And if somebody catches something from it and they learn something or it brightens their day or makes them laugh, then that's
But yeah, and we have the beauty of editing. This episode could be released and be 10 minutes long of gold, right? And we could sit here for 6 hours. So, like, in turn, we could go take a bathroom break. We can go smoke a cigarette, come back, sit down. As long as you edit it right, who gives a fuck, right? I mean, at the end of the day, when you're making a movie, how much fucking film is left on the floor, cutting room floor,
a ton, bro.
right? Like, how much is filmed versus shown to you when you're making
Film
Apocalypse
can
Now?
be just by coloring and sound and music, film's whole identities can be changed from what was shot to what is shown. You know what I mean? Things turn to gold, things turn to shit. Great scripts get ruined. Bad scripts become. I mean, imagine reading the script for Napoleon Dynamite. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You'd be like, "What the fuck is this dog shit?" You know what I mean? This is fucking weird as fuck. And then you see it, and it's like, "Oh, this is a fucking comedic masterpiece.
Yeah, it comes
one of the best
together.
comedies ever made, probably." You just don't. You either see the vision or you don't. You never know.
Just depends whose hands touch it, right?
I mean, we're trusting you to not make us look like fucking misogynistic racists, depending on how you're going to edit this, right?
We don't really edit.
Nice.
Yeah, you're fucked.
We just
I prefer you don't edit.
we'll trim off like part of the beginning just because the intro.
Yeah.
You're fine.
I prefer not to edit myself, but we edit.
Yeah, I like.
We just do clips.
We don't usually get anywhere that we're not comfortable getting.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then-
as long as we're not, throwing on fucking pointy hoods and, there's only like 3 lines you can't cross, really.
There's a couple of it. We won't go there today.
I could use a cigarette though.
All right.
Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully you guys found some beauty. Thanks for coming and sharing space with us.
Thank you for having us, guys.
And check out their podcast. I'm sure it's fucking riot. And
Hopefully we can have you on. We have.
I'm gonna come. Yeah,
You come on because I want to get a little weird with you.
let's do it. I'm with it. I'm a
find the
open,
dark corners of your brain.
I'm an open book, bro. I'm very like, and I like having a space where my mind can actually be itself, because I feel like we're throttled a lot. And there's a lot of shit I don't share, obviously, in public because, it's nobody's business. But in general, like, I do enjoy those conversations, though, because that's where the magic is.
Yeah.
Weirder shit gets.
I hate phony conversations. I'm like, I don't like you as a person. I'm not getting you.
Yeah.
Right. As a person. Right. But if you come out and tell me some dark, fucked up shit, I'll be like, you know what? That might be fucked up, but I respect the honesty, and I am not innocent of doing fucked up shit too. We all are.
It humanizes us, right? Because we know at the end of the day, we're all, broken people.
Well, everybody's same but different,
Yeah, that's why I don't want privacy. I say that every episode. I want privacy to not exist, so that when you come at me, I have a full Kelly Blue thing I can read.
Well, you don't want it because you're a public face also, right? So it makes sense.
Yeah, but if you come at me and call me out for some shit I did, and I can pull up your life and be like, ha, bro, what about this? Shut up. What about this? Right? Now we're all equal. Now you can't talk shit to me because I got shit on you. But a lot of times when people are canceling others, they're Mother Teresa, and you're fucking Hitler.
For the cancel people, but the people that are just want to be left alone and want to be at home and not bothered, their opinion is different on that. There's some people that don't like that.
Don't watch it then, but don't throw stones in glass houses either. Let's be honest.
Yep,
I agree.
All right,
boys.